Why are American players so bad at WarCraft 3? It's hard to understand or to find a reason for it, but historically it's been true. Or has it? Actually, when you look back in the history of WarCraft 3 esports, there have been a couple of very outstanding players, including, and some of you may remember these names, Hazim, Wizard, Short Round, and as of recently, we've got Ethereal, aka Hitman. Hitman is an interesting character. If he were to roll his Baldur's Gate 3 character sheet, he would not score 18 on the charisma modifier. He wouldn't have a +3 or +4 roll to his charisma ability checks. But his strength, dexterity, and constitution would probably all nearly be maxed at 18. Hitman is the best American player right now, and normally, if you said best American player in the last 10 years, that still wouldn't mean much. You'd be like, okay, cool, but can you beat Europeans? Can you beat Asians? Fully expecting the answer to be no. But Hitman actually is an aberration. He's a deviation from the norm. As of recently, Hitman is perhaps one of the best players in the world. Though that is true for his online ladder play, which we're watching right here. At LAN, generally, he has performed a little bit worse, but there was one fantastic tournament where he went to go to compete in Asia, and he played against some of the top Asian players, for example Lawliot, and he was able to take wins against some of the best. Many people have wondered how he would perform when playing against Happy, and we thought it's going to be real competitive between the two, but Happy was able to dispatch him for the most part with relative ease. And this was in the tournament. They don't play much in ladder because Happy tends to avoid very bad ping games, as he loves playing with good ping, and if the ping is worse, like often is the case when playing from Russia against America despite best intents and efforts from the W3 Champions team to make better routing, he tends to just say, nah, never mind, no thank you, and they don't end up playing. So it actually added a lot of excitement about if and when they finally play against each other, how it would go. Turns out, Happy crushed. The Hitman continues to be one of the best and most prolific ladder players, whereas Simmons here, I don't think a lot of people know anything about him. Simmons, as we can see, has the Korean flag, and he is a human player. But we don't know much about him. If he is some kind of smurf, I don't know. I don't remember him from tournaments way back when or now. But he's a very strong ladder player as well. And we've got a highly recommended replay between the two here. So what we're seeing so far in this game, and maybe I can help you, I can explain some of the things that are happening so you can understand this beautiful game of WarCraft 3 better. These days, it's so much more common for human players to immediately fast expand against Orc. And that's off the back of a very different meta recently. In the last 3 years, we've seen all kinds of one-base strategies, like Archmage, Mountain King with Rifleman and Priest from one base. And we've seen Double Sanctum Mass Casters, be it with Archmage and Mountain King or something else. But we've seen very few expansions. Orcs have shown a number of varieties. They've gone for very fast Headhunters, one Grunt into Headhunters, Grunt opening. We've seen Tier 2 expansion style. I myself have been kind of a proponent of Tier 3 play with Orc. Usually not against the fast Tier 1 expansion like this one, but Tier 3 play like Bloodlust Torrents, Master Walker Torrents with Reincarnation. I'm partial to those builds. Most people haven't tried to burn their fingers on that. But these days, humans shrink the potential different tech builds that Orc can go for by immediately putting on pressure onto the Orc by taking an economic advantage. You see, WarCraft 3, it is essentially a classic RTS, but there are a number of different advantages you can have that deviate from other classic RTSs, like Age of Empires and StarCraft, even WarCraft 2. Because not only can you have an army style advantage, an army composition, or upgrade advantage, or an economy advantage, Right? You can have a positioning advantage, a numbers advantage, all these things that are true in all classic RTSs. But in Warcraft 3, you've of course also got items advantage, upkeep advantage, XP advantage, and hero combination advantage. Which heroes are better early and late and so on. So it's actually an incredibly deep and complex game, as I'm sure many of you know. And anyone can win with any advantage. Right? You don't have to go for one in particular. You can clinch several of the different aspects. So long as you're better at some of the things, you can leverage those as a win condition. So basically, when someone goes for an early tier 1 expansion, they first take economic advantage. They will then translate it into a numbers advantage, like we see here, though not a quality advantage. Many footies and mercs, but not particularly good late game and scaling units. And you can go buy heal scroll at the shop. Archmage just picked up an invulnerability potion and then sold it, the very same one, either because he wanted to deny it to the orc or because he hadn't realized yet that he had already picked up a greater invulnerability potion from the camp. And he's now using Potion of Invisibility, which Hitman could sniff out. If he sniffs good like a golden retriever. If he clicks that shop, he sees, hey, Invis potion missing. Archmage must be coming for the counter expansion cancel. And there is no counter expansion cancel. Could it be that Hitman, aka Ethereal, is even now teching to tier 3 to rely on the tiny Great Hall rather than the tier 2 counter expansion? I think that's what's going on. There's a Purge, there's a Surround, there's the Invul. This is a very good surround, and it's important to hit this round without the use of War Stamp, otherwise Archmage can Staff of Tele out. The length of the Invul actually sees him able to leave, and there's no mana left. And Archmage is gonna get level 4. This is expensive. Very worth it for an invulnerability potion. Meanwhile, footies were doing a little raid. So okay, now I'm looking. Hitman is not going to tier 3 at all. I am confused. Normally, when the opponent has such an early expansion, you immediately want to equalize the situation. You want to get yours, or go to tier 3 so you can get a belated but very rapid expo. I guess he really just wanted to get map control because he knows if he doesn't have enough shamans and maybe like an impending raider, he doesn't have the tools to stop an Archmage with 6, 7, 8 footmen and a bunch of mercs. Because you can just bulldozer the tiny Great Hall, the normal Great Hall. You can just bulldozer it by spamming footies at it, and the cost of cancelling and remaking it becomes too much. So first, and I remember doing this too, first you stabilize, get like 40 population out, a couple of units that have some lockdown like shamans and raiders, and then you put up your expo. So the good thing about that is, although your expo is later and it's essentially economically less viable, right? You're not going to get your new income as fast. The army, the standing army that you have, while it's trying to come up, is bigger. Why does this matter? The human can essentially keep printing footmen from his ranks, and he can keep printing mercs from his mercenary camp. The more footies and mercs he commits early game, the more likely he's able to suicide his army multiple times on your Great Hall, and making it prohibitively late by constantly interrupting it. Your counterattack army, when you get stuck in that kind of spiral of constantly trying to make your expo land, your counterattack army is very small. You constantly fight with a small army, constantly unable to expand. Why Hitman's timing of counter expo is actually good is because of what you see right here. Archmage commits to cancel the tiny Great Hall and then kills the peon. This was successful. But now he's got a 43 population army that can break all the towers and a couple of peasants. Though Simmons did a good job not sacrificing and losing all of his units yet. He's no doubt working either on a tier 3 transition or maybe double sanctums, a workshop, breakers, casters, whatever. I don't know exactly where he's at with his tech. But he's looking to defend the next attack. A good thing for Simmons, he lost peasants, but not enough to beggar his gold economy. He's still mining with 10 peasants on gold. His lumber drops a little lower, but I remember him getting the advanced lumber harvesting upgrade earlier. Alright, so here's the big first fight of the game. Mountain King gets surrounded, has Invul and Heal Potion. I think he should use Heal Potion soon, rather than delaying it. He should use it now. That way he gets the cooldown running, and he can use another one soon after. You see now, his fancy bait on the MK means he cannot drink a second pot because they're on a global cooldown. But if he tries to pull back the Mountain King, or perhaps passes the town portal to MK, he can try to TP behind his base. Nope, he's just gonna let it die. Alright. So this was important for Simmons to buy time this way, because he wanted the Arcane Tower to come up. Now all the shamans have been burned. Very good micro on that. He doesn't have a lot of firepower left. Chain Lightning level 2 and Shockwave level 2 did quite a lot of damage. And there's no guard towers here, so... I don't know, I feel like this game should end in the next 30 seconds. I do not see how possibly Simmons can keep this alive. He does have Masonry, which makes the tower a bit more resilient. He keeps changing his Arcane Tower over to all the different shamans. Great micro. And there's no town portal, so he can try to go for the TC surround. He's trying to free himself with the peasant kill, but the re-surround with the water... Okay, now I get it! The militia come to the rescue. Stop. You are under suspicion of traveling here without TP. You're under arrest. Peasants now just straight up going ham against grunts and raiders. Not a job they ever just signed up for. And there's water torrents. As part of the Orc propaganda campaign, we used to call Water Elemental level 3 water torrents. By equating them to the strongest tier 3 Orc melee unit, we attempted to subvert opinions on how strong they are in order to get better balance patches. Of course, a torrent has like, well, how much health? 1350? And a water elemental had like 900, and I think it's 850 now. So essentially calling them water torrents was a misrepresentation of exactly how much health they have, but that's why it's propaganda. It's only propaganda because they're actually stronger than torrents. So the counter expansion's coming up. Now we know why Simmons had so little for so long. He did go to tier 3 and is now going Griffins. I love how Simmons was able to stay alive here. He's still staying on 50 population, very greedy, but he wants to save up his money a bit. Uh-oh! Archmage does have Town Portal, but that's going to leave the Mountain King high and dry. He's going to TP, he's going to try to run the rest in. Hopefully for him this is a TP back to his expansion, and it is. Onto the shop, in fact. And now you get to enjoy Griffins against an almost entirely anti-ground army. I like, yeah, there's Chain Lightning and there's a Berserker and Shamans can attack air. But these units are outmatched. He's throwing rocks and stone axes at magical flying chickens with magical hammers. This is a very tough fight. Now I'm thinking Hitman has no chance. But it's funny how the momentum can swing between players where you think, oh, it's over. You know, I'm calling it. It's over, no chance. I don't see how a one bestiary orc can win against the furious production of double base chickens. I don't see it. And he has gone over 50 pop, which means that essentially Hitman is mining more, 6 gold per second more than Simmons. But it also means that Simmons has a lot more units. He's up almost 20 population. All he needs is a TP, a regen scroll, and a heal pot. And he just took care of the regen scroll. There's the TP. And he could do a heal pot if he wants to. But instead, he could just rely on the more long-term efficiency Staff of Sanctuary. And he's got 2 of it. A little bit of creeping with Mountain King Pala only. This requires discipline and a watchful eye. Maybe not everyone know, but if Archmage level 5 stands next to Mountain King Paladin while creeping, it steals and sends to a black hole of nothingness. Actually, black hole is almost everything, but it sends into the pit, into the void, the share of XP Archmage would have gotten. Because creeping in WarCraft 3 is limited to level 5 heroes. 5.0, no more XP. So Archmage needs to stand somewhere else. That's why he keeps pulling it away. We have 61 population griffins. Shockwave can hit griffins if you ensnare them, but there's no raiders left. One bat. What a pathetic army. It'd be crazy if this... oh, that's pretty nice. This double bat. All the griffins were grouped. Oh, by the way, very important note. Simmons forgot animal war training on griffins. I just saw that. So they have 100 health less than they should have. And then he grouped up his 5 griffins into double bat rider. And now, suddenly, there's no critical mass anymore. This is a problem. That was a pretty lackluster clap. Paladin on Mountain King. He needs to Holy Light the Mountain King or he's going to die to a shockwave. No, why did he heal the Archmage? Oh, I see. Staff of... He's got Ankh of Reincarnation on Mountain King hero. I get it. So Shockwave did a big dirty number on those peasants. He's down to 39 pop. I really feel like he failed in his execution. Forgetting animal war training and then grouping the griffins was very, very costly. Immediate double cyclone wand use to blow up the Mountain King. Actually pretty cool, but I don't think he checked Mountain King items. There's no way he would have done that if he had known that Mountain King had an Ankh. Ogre Mauler kills all the peasants in the worker line. Oh man. Wow. Okay, it's over, right? Oh, he did have TP, but he's TPing to the wrong base! No! Why would you? Ah, that's gotta be it. I feel so tempted to check the remaining replay time here, but I'm not gonna do it. Well, big mistakes from Simmons. That is not pro gamer play. And Hitman somehow manages these things. You know, I get really pissed off watching Hitman play Warcraft 3. Does anyone else feel the same? I get pissed because it shouldn't be working. But it's working. That's how it feels. It's because his micro is really good. He's very aggressive. He's very experienced. So there's like these situations. I have learned that Headhunter Shaman cannot beat Griffin numbers of 6 or more. And technically there were 5. So my ancient knowledge could still be true. This is a paltry army of misfits. Tier 2 Headhunters, 1-2 bats, 5 shamans. It shouldn't be working. I feel like if you had given me that position when he had 5 griffins, I win from that point. I don't know if it's true. Yeah. I mean, I guess it's hard to beat USA. There's a heal scroll finally. I wonder what upgrades he has on griffins. I'm pretty sure he doesn't have any. Why are there still no Headhunter upgrade? My man, he's tier 2. He can't get the Berserker upgrade. That's the funny part. Mountain King. It's 1 base versus 2. He's twin. Split your griffins! Split them! Alright. Mountain King is coming back. Alright, Mountain King almost back. He's got pretty sick heroes. In my opinion, now that Paladin is level 3, I think these heroes can solo carry. I don't think he even needs a lot of griffins. He just needs mana on Mountain King and that's gonna be it. I could see Simmons win, even from this point. I usually put all my effort into trying to get double bestiary bat riders. Especially when you've got more money than the opponent. Just because you're more likely to reach trading equality. I hope he clicks Griffin so we can see upgrades. I'm pretty sure he has no upgrades on Blacksmith. But he might have Animal War training finally. It's pretty hard though, I gotta say, when you're playing a game of Warcraft 3, to recognize that you don't have an upgrade like that. There's nothing too visually apparent. Is he gonna heal scroll? Yep, he did. I once forgot my Colossus upgrade in the StarCraft game. That's a lot more obvious, because it affects their range. But you can be so busy that you don't notice these things. He doesn't actually know that the Tarn Chieftain has no reincarnation yet. 20-second cooldown. Yo, he Bolt must be like 70 mana. He gets it. Whoa. So now he gets Devotion Aura level 2, which helps against Batrider Explosion and all hits, of course, almost everything. And against everything except Chain Lightning Shockwave. He could go D-Shield, but I think Devotion Aura is the pick. Problem for Simmons is he doesn't have any money anymore. Let's see. I think that Stormbolt and Farseer was a mistake. Only Bolt if he can finish. Alright, but the heroes are pretty good. I think he needed to clap. No TP, has a heal scroll. That Holy Light was too early on the Archmage. Wasted a little bit of healing potential. Oh no! Why would you bolt the Farseer? He has to bolt the Raider to free himself. Oh wait, never mind, he's got staff. But still, I didn't know that there was an invul, I suppose. Man, I'm backseating. Backseating during the game. Alright. Still no mining. He's gonna try to get the Farseer. One hit away. One hit away. Man. So there's like 5 peasants long distance mining. What's he buying? What's he buying? He needs to take care of that Raider. That Raider is lethal. And that Mountain King chased way too far. Staff it. Archmage. Archmage is actually back. He had enough money to retrain it. Well done. Paladin has heal scroll. Oh man. Staff with Mountain King on Pala. Alright. Now Archmage is the weakest link. Oh man, he gets the Farseer again. Archmage cannot get staffed, but he can staff the Mountain King. Raider cannot finish the cast point animation of the ensnare, so the Griffin lives. No, fly over the trees. 4 peons mining. So Farseer and TC excel in AoE damage, area of effect. And this hero combo from Human excels in healing each other and killing the opponent. Making a free army, having infinite mana, and then damage and healing spells. So much better, right? Essentially, Hitman needed his units to kill the human heroes. And his heroes can kill the human units. And then Griffins and Breakers are the hardest to kill with what he has. Shockwave, right? And for Simmons, it's the other way around. He can use his heroes to kill everything. But his units are gonna keep getting killed by the heroes. So the Farseer died again. I would imagine he's probably retraining it from the altar. A little bit of creeping here for some bonus money. And anytime the Archmage is together with Mountain King Paladin, that's going to be a lot of extra XP. Efficient would be solo Paladin creeping. But at this point he probably feels it's so scary / risky to do solo Paladin. Because if he just gets caught, the game could be over. Now, Hitman would probably love to do like some kind of hit and run. Hit and run, not hit and run. Hit and run would be a bit weird. Where's he gonna go? Invisibly running. A hit and run. Some people may look at this and say like, hey, you're mining, the opponent isn't. Can't you do Raider hit and run? Generally doesn't work anymore now. Because, you know, Hitman can just staff of Sanctuary Mountain King home. And then Mountain King Stormbolt claps the Raider and it's dead. The staffs, they're for healing when someone is hurt, but you can also just use it just for teleportation. A lot of items. If Simmons does a little bit of lumber mining, right? Just get to like 250 lumber with his remaining, I don't know, 4 peasants or so, maybe 2. He could still take an expansion. But against Farseer 3, expoing is so bad because the feral spirits are just going to be killing your peasants. So I like what he's doing here more. Keeping all of his items rather than selling them for an expansion. Drums and whatever he has. And just Just killing Orcs expansion. It's so much fun to play with the human heroes when they're this high level. Paladin 3 was so key. I don't see what Hitman can do. Would have maybe been nice to have one ring of protection on the Farseer, because TC has reincarnation anyway. Oh, he gets the Stormbolt! Okay, that was griefing by Simmons. He summoned a water elemental rather than doing another attack on the Farseer, but I guess it didn't matter. He just throws another Thor's hammer. Wow. Pretty spectacular. Like, I think it's a pretty big event. Anytime like a non-competing top player is able to beat someone like Hitman on ladder. Pretty spectacular. He managed to resist a 36 versus 62 population deficit or so. So really nice comeback. Not perfect, but all the best games are not perfect. All the games like that I remember from the past that go to like 1 hour length, it's always mistakes on both sides, but it's because it's so hard to do the right thing all the time. And that's how you get the high level heroes. The only way to get everyone level 6 heroes like here is a couple of big mistakes, because otherwise you just close it out. So I actually love games with mistakes like this one. There's a lot of good in it. Griffins did end up all dying against an army that I wouldn't have expected, but finally the heroes carried. And that's WarCraft 3 for you. GG, hope you enjoyed watching. See you next time. Sub to the grub.